And in the wake of those protests in Diepsloot, police have arrested dozens of undocumented migrants while they continue their search for the murderers of Elvis Nyati. At the same time, Deputy Minister and the Presidency responsible for state security, Zizi Kodwa, has told the Gauteng-based talk radio station that the country must revisit its immigration laws to explain the grounds on which police can ask to see identification from any person in this country. We're joined by immigration lawyer Stefanie de Saude-Darbandi. Stefanie, a very good evening to you. Welcome to the program. Let's begin with that very question then. When is it appropriate for any person walking on the streets of this country, in particular migrants or for other foreign nationals, when is it appropriate for them to be asked to show identification?
Good evening and thank you for having me. So immigration in South Africa is regulated by the South African Immigration Act, and the act is clear. Any Home Affairs official and any police person can ask for any non-South African, well, and South African in terms of a different act, but non-South African to present a form of identification, and that would be an ID which contains the details of the person and a picture, a photograph of the person, and they can also inquire the status of the person. And that process is also regulated in law. So if the person doesn't have these details with them, if they can't prove whether they're in the country legally or not, the police officer or the official, the Home Affairs official, have to take certain steps to try and understand the status of that person. And these are all steps that are taken reasonably and to assist that person in trying to prove their status in the country. And
what are those steps? Is one then required to be taken into custody while that is being dealt with?
So not necessarily, but it is possible. The immigration officer or the police person could contact a relative or a friend or anybody that's able to identify the person and the status of the person. Where there's a suspicion that the person is undocumented, they can be taken into custody. And one of the first things that they would usually do when taken into custody is to check departmental records to understand the status. Unfortunately, the Department of Home Affairs' records are not always reliable, so this can be a problem as well. And then after that, to assist this person in trying to locate the documents if necessary. But where there is a suspicion that the person is illegal, they may detain the person. And they may detain for the purposes of deportation unless the person is an asylum seeker or a refugee permit holder.
So in Diepsloot, we've seen protests this week. Police have now launched an anti-crime operation as well. Among the complaints, of course, has been an accusation from the side of the community, whether true or not, that undocumented migrants have been involved in crime in that community. Does that then give police sufficient grounds to stop each and every person they find on the street and feel should at any point produce identification?
Well, it could, but the problem is that a lot of people are not documented for reasons beyond their control. For example, they may have made an application to the Department of Home Affairs for a status of some sort, and that process has been delayed by the Department of Home Affairs. Or the application that they made has been wrongfully rejected, and it's in an appeal process. Or in the case of refugees, for example, you'll have a mother or a father that's the file holder, and family members have asked to join that file, and they're still in this waiting process. So even if they are stopped and they don't have documents, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are here illegally.
And given that complexity then among the reasons why any person may be undocumented at whatever time, are SAPS members best placed to conduct these searches? Should it not be strictly Home Affairs or Immigration that does it?
So it is Home Affairs or Immigration, or it's a Home Affairs officer that can cause a police officer to arrest someone for being illegal. It's only a Home Affairs officer that can declare or confirm that someone is illegal, though, not a police person.
And in what situation would the conduct of the immigration officials and the SAPS constitute a violation of rights, of the laws of this country, as far as what we've been seeing happening this week?
Well, unfortunately, that's it happens very often where police officers, Home Affairs officials as well, where rights of people in the country are infringed, where they are entitled to a legal representative, for example, and the Home Affairs official or the police person if they're in custody, because people who are detained for the purposes of deportation can only be held at certain facilities. And again, as I said, it's Home Affairs that will arrest a person for being illegal or cause an officer, a police officer, to arrest someone. And a lot of these times, their rights in terms of where they should be held, how they should be treated, they're not met. And this is very common, unfortunately.
And what recourse is there, Stephanie, lastly, for those who feel their rights have been violated, either in the Diepsloot situation or in any other scenario in South Africa?
To seek legal representation, and that could be from an attorney or from a non-profit organization. The problem is that a lot of these people are afraid. They're scared to approach attorneys or non-profit organizations. They don't know who to approach. So a lot of them don't know what to do. But generally, most foreigners don't want to be in the country illegally. They don't want to be undocumented. It doesn't serve them any benefit. And most South African employers don't want to employ illegal foreigners as well. So it doesn't help anybody. Yes, there are a few that will be here illegally just because, they're fine with living that way. But it's not something that a lot of them choose.
Stefanie de Saude-Darbandi, good to have your time. Thank you very much.